good morning and good afternoon to in-house counsel and in-house legal professionals from all across North America and the world. Welcome to In-House Connect. My name is Shai Mahani. I'm the CEO and co-founder of In-House Connect, and I'm thrilled to have you here with us today. Thank you for spending your breakfast time or your lunchtime with us, and special thanks to our wonderful sponsor, Clearbrief AI, and our fantastic presenter, Jackie Schaffer, who's going to teach us how leading in-house legal teams are using Gen AI in Word for more effective corporate investigations. This is our 83rd event of the year, and I'm wondering, are you here for the first time or have you tuned into an IHC webinar before? Today's session will be presented by Jackie Schaffer, who's the founder and CEO at Clearbrief, which happens to be the winner of the Litigation Technology Product of the Year from Legal Week 2023. Jackie serves as one of the inaugural members of the Texas Bar's AI Task Force, where she was chosen by the American Bar Association as one of the 2022 Women of Legal Tech and named to the 2022 Fast Case 50, which honors innovators, techies, and visionaries and leaders in law. She also received the 2021 Washington State Bar Apex Award for Legal Innovation for founding Clearbrief, as well as for 2020 Law Review article. So I guess 2021, 2022, 2023 was a great year. I hope 2024 has been even better for you, Jackie. Jackie began her career as a litigation associate at the firm of Paul Weiss and spent the majority of her career as an assistant attorney general in Alaska and Washington State, where she specialized in appellate practice and complex litigation before founding Clearbrief in 2020. She served as in-house counsel for a $3 billion national nonprofit. She received her BA in English and French from the University of Pennsylvania, where she sang with John Legend's former a cappella group, and she received her JD from Boston University. Jackie, it's wonderful to have you, and welcome back to In-House Connect.
Thank you so much. And thanks so much, everybody, for being here today. Yes, 2024 has been an incredible year for the company, so much so we haven't even had time to apply for any awards this year. So I think it's a lot of exciting things I'm going to show you today. So I wanted to just start by saying I've been in your shoes in the in-house role. Yeah, I started my career in big law, spent a lot of time in government doing complex litigation, but I was in-house counsel for several years, at one point for a large oil and gas corporation in Alaska, and then also for a $3 billion nonprofit operating in all 50 states, where I worked on in-house employment investigations, advising HR, managing our outside counsel for litigation matters. And just when a problem came up, we're like the plumbers in legal, where we have to come and fix it and try to gather the evidence and put together next steps for the executive team. So that's what I'm going to focus on today, is how you can use Clearbrief specifically in Word. Because one of the things that I've observed from this journey, and by the way, so Clearbrief is now used across the AmLaw 200. We're used by the largest global firms, boutique firms. We're used by courts, government agencies. We're used internationally, global investigations teams for in-house legal teams. Everything I'm showing you today is already being used by legal practitioners. Okay, I covered this. And so one of the reasons why Clearbrief has achieved adoption in AI early, where a lot of organizations have been hesitant to implement AI tools because they're worried about security and confidentiality. But Clearbrief, we meet the strictest security requirements. We're SOC 2 Type 2 certified. We have an InfoSec team. So actually, that's one of the biggest things I wanted to start out by saying, is that if you are interested in doing a pilot project together, we help you move through the pilot process, especially the InfoSec process. I feel like a lot of people are hesitant to even try to bring AI tools to their teams because they're like, oh my God, InfoSec takes forever. So if you feel like that, I hear you, and we're used to that, and we can really help teams be extra efficient there. So I'm going to talk about this more, but so Clearbrief integrates with Word, of course, where you're doing your writing and your thinking, but it also integrates with e-discovery platforms like Relativity and your document management systems that you might have, like iManage, NetDocs, etc. So there's also no hard limit on the number of files you can use in what I'm showing you today. All right, so what is the point of Clearbrief? What was my big idea that I've been recognized for being so innovative? It's literally just, can we see the evidence? Can we just keep that visible, please? I feel it shouldn't be that controversial, but in reality, it is hard to achieve, where When we're doing analyses in-house, when we're trying to put together, like I was saying, an investigation document, or even just an email where we try to explain to the general counsel, or we need to explain to the HR team or the business side what happened and what they should be considering, we have to build our story. And we're usually doing that in Word, even if we copy and paste it into email or somewhere else. So what Clearbrief does is it helps you create a repository where you can keep all of the evidence that's behind your written summary, behind your investigation report, and it helps you actually draft that much faster, but always with the credibility because you have hyperlinked citations to the evidence. So when someone's reading your document inside Word, or later if you share it as a PDF, they can always see side by side why you wrote what you wrote. So that's the big idea that we're going to talk about today. Yes, it helps reduce the time. That's the other big piece of this is one of the things I hear from in-house teams and legal ops leaders is we have an increased volume of incidents that require us to do investigations. There's just a lot of new regulations that apply to us. We have to show and document that someone reports a problem, we've looked into it and we made conclusions about it and we took next steps. That's how legal provides our value to the business. But the problem is that our budget is static or even shrinking when it comes to FTEs and personnel. So Clearbrief is really designed for that exact situation where you need to produce that work product with fewer people on the team. So there's a lot of different tools that are in Clearbrief. It started out being designed for litigators and for litigation. So that's where the largest global firms, this is where they're doing their writing for their cases and their filing. For in-house teams, you are going to use the same tools a little bit differently. And I'll show you how. The main thing we're going to talk about today is how to create internal investigation reports. So you can use extractive AI, you can use generative AI to create your investigation reports depending on what your company is comfortable with. Not everyone is ready for generative AI. So we understand that. We have options basically in terms of if you can gate the access to the generative AI, even if there's just certain people on your team, the business professionals and support staff can just need access to certain tools. So you can do that within Clearbrief. We're also going to just quickly cover, if we have enough time, how to use Clearbrief to help manage outside litigation. So let's say that those investigations turn into something that becomes a litigation matter. I'll show you how you can use Clearbrief to collaborate with your outside counsel so that it's saving you money basically, so that they're not reinventing the wheel when you have 50 of the same type of case that you've already paid for firms to invent the wheel on how you'd like to respond to these discovery responses or et cetera. So how can any firm that works with you leverage that work product inside Word? Because again, that's the only tool that we really know how to use as lawyers. And then just to let you know, a couple other tools that I'm seeing a lot of excitement from our in-house teams, deposition summaries. This is something that you might be experiencing like a delay when you try to get a deposition summary, or you're paying others to create this for you. There's tools to do this instantly inside Clearbrief. You can also use it for declarations if you need to produce those. There's a range of what work different teams want to take on in-house versus just saying, I want outside counsel to do it all. So there's a lot of flexibility. And then the other point before I actually show you how to use it, I really want to emphasize that this may be a hot take, but I simply don't think that the legal profession is ready for AI without any hand-holding, without any training. We need training. It's built into our business model that we provide one-on-one training to legal users because the work that we do has critical importance for the business, and people are going to be hesitant to use AI tools or just really any legal technology when for the first time if they have something important that they're working on. But it's a catch-22 because that's when you'll get the most value out of technology. So if you use it on something real, something that's pressing and has a deadline, then you'll really experience the benefits. So the way to overcome that is by offering people support. So we have amazing folks who are mostly actually lawyers themselves who provide that support in the moment. We also have training inside the platform and different cool innovative programs that we've been offering. Shai, would you mind running that poll?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Poll one is, how many days does it typically take a team member to complete an investigation into an HR issue? Frankly, I wasn't sure what the options should be. So I gave up, nope, I gave like a bunch, 0 to 21 days, 21 to 50, so on and so forth. While people are taking the polls, quick question from Leighton. I would love to hear how you think about whether using Gen AI to draft a summary would or would not interfere with the ability to assert privilege over the summary. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, okay, great question. What are all of our hundreds and hundreds of legal organization customers? The position they have taken is that just like other legal technology tools, like when you use Lexis or something to search for something or Westlaw or other legal tech tools, it does not waive privilege. It's just like an extension of your working tools. And so Clearbrief meets our terms of service and our policies just meet all the requirements to be construed in that way. So there's no argument that it waives privilege. Another thing to mention about Clearbrief is that we have a partnership for the generative AI tools. The data is not sent and stored by OpenAI or anything like that. We have a partnership with Microsoft. We use Microsoft Azure's OpenAI API. So Microsoft has agreed with Clearbrief, they will not retain any of the information that's sent. You can consider this a kind of a private repository where you can safely and responsibly use generative AI. And that's why, for example, we're used by big law, by courts, by government agencies, because we're purpose built for the legal industry and in-house counsel. Like Microsoft has actually, they've shared publicly that they use Clearbrief, their legal team. So I can mention that.
Awesome.
Great. If anyone has follow-up questions on that too, feel free to put them in the chat. Okay,
Wonderful.
so it seems, yeah, these investigations are taking, a fair amount of time. There was another poll, right?
Yeah. So next question, how many days does it typically take a team member to complete an investigation to a NAVEX report or other business issue? So looks like, just to recap the former poll, looks like, oh, nope, they're coming in fast and furious. Poll one. So poll one, it looks like 0 to 21 days is 36%, 21 to 50, 36%, and then 50 to 90 is 18%. Definitely taking a lot of time. And for this current question, it's skewing longer. There's a lot more submissions in the 90 to 120, 120 to 180. So it's definitely a longer investigation.
Yep. So I want to point out that this is also a huge business value that the legal department can provide to the business, is that the quicker that you can investigate these issues and get a resolution, it's better for the company on multiple dimensions. It allows HR to respond appropriately. It allows the company's leaders to get back to the board faster with an update if needed. It allows the company to avoid potential litigation. So the time aspect is something that I really want to point out, that the faster you can do it, the better. But of course, we all face these kind of resource constraints. Let me show you how you can actually get to a really high quality investigation report with a strong time savings. Okay, great. So I'm going to kick this off now by sharing my screen. And I'm going to talk through some of Clearbrief's core tools when it comes to investigation reports. So the way that when I talk with investigators in a lot of companies, it may be a lawyer doing the investigation. It may be someone who's not a lawyer, who's doing, an investigator. Either way, they're going to start out by gathering whatever factual information they might have. Let's say you're using Clearbrief to organize your investigation. You start by launching Clearbrief from Word and drag this over so it takes up about half your screen. Clearbrief is a Microsoft Word add-in. So everything I'm showing you, it sits inside Word alongside any Word document that you have open here. So let's say I have a new investigation matter that I'm working on, and we're going to call this New York v. Trump. This is one of just some interesting exhibits that I gathered, evidentiary exhibits that are publicly available. So this is a fun one. So let's say I created my matter dashboard and I'm going to invite other people to this matter from my organization. So what does that mean? So I could actually, let's pretend I'm an investigator, I'm not a lawyer, and I might start by actually adding in one of the lawyers that I work with. I could add in a paralegal that I work with to have access to this matter folder. So when they open up Clearbrief, they will see the matter folder already for them. And the reason for this collaboration is around the source documents. So this is where I can drag in 100,000 separate files, massive files. and all different file types. So that includes like PDF, all different types of Office files, emails, Excel spreadsheets, images. And then another cool thing to note is that if you upload a zipped folder, Clearbrief will maintain all the folder structure of your original files. So you just drag those into Clearbrief, and Clearbrief will make them text searchable. So it will apply our advanced OCR, which is better than Adobe. I'm comfortable saying that. That will, because it's been fine-tuned for the types of documents we deal with in legal. So that's what allows AI products to work well, by the way, is this step, in my opinion. Another thing that I wanted to mention that I had referenced before, so if you, let's say, had initially gathered documents and they're stored in Relativity, you can click on this integration and sign in and import that folder into Clearbrief. It will just copy in those documents and it doesn't delete them from the original location or anything like that. And if you wanted to work on a custom integration together, we also do that with our large customers. I also want to point out just one of our cool features here that, again, to this training point, that most screens in Clearbrief, and we're adding more and more videos, have a little video clip here so that you can launch this and learn how to use it as you use the tool. All right, so everyone with me so far, if you are comfortable putting anything in the chat, and I can't see anybody's faces, so I need encouragement. Feel free to share a note there.
So quick question. First of all, Ken is saying good so far, and I concur. Francis has a question. Does your AI have access to or use as part of its further development? And if so, how does this use of our data impact the determination that our use does not impact assertion of privilege? So it's interesting. Privilege is
Yeah.
on everybody's mind today.
Yeah, so no, it's not like it's already been pre-trained. Our AI comes pre-trained. We're not like we don't need to train on your data or anything like that. It's already pre-trained, and that is all covered in the terms of service that we also, for large companies, we also specifically negotiate like and address the terms that your GC might need to see in the agreement and that kind of thing. That again, every law firm I know is using AI, so they have found a way to that this use does satisfy our responsibilities as it applies to privilege, that this is all in your secure repository that's only for your company. So this is my workspace here that's just for my company. Yes, in terms of privilege though, if I'm sharing this matter folder, that's all, again, it's the same way as just how we work with any other type of files that we have, where if I shared this with somebody who was not in my circle of legal privilege, that could waive the privilege. But this is really just about sharing with the legal team, so the legal team can work on this investigation. So that's just like our other legal tech tools that we use. All right, cool. All right, so I have here my sources, and now I get to do the fun stuff. So I wanted to show you one of our most popular generative AI tools, which is called Instant Hyperlinked Timeline. So the way I create a timeline, if I click here, Clearbrief is going to prompt me to create a timeline directly from my factual documents. I can actually just include documents that I've tagged as hot inside Clearbrief. So we have this tool actually called note-taking mode. So if I want to read through my evidence for the first time in Clearbrief, I can tag pages as hot. So as in these are relevant for my investigation. So that means when I go to generate my timeline, I'm going to choose this and it will just generate the timeline based on those specific issues. Our medical timeline is designed for if you're working on insurance issues or something that's specific to medical issues. It's a different output that is really tailored to that use case. So this is the button you would click. Otherwise, you will click the timeline button. And so this is a tool we've worked and collaborated with our customers on for the last year and incorporated their feedback from law firms in-house. And the result is, I'll show you one that I previously generated here. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this into my document, click on this original button. It will give me the option to filter. So let's say Clearbrief is going to detect every single date that is mentioned in my document. So if I've uploaded, let's say I got a NAVEX report about somebody improperly spending company funds on travel, and I've dragged in the NAVEX report, I've dragged in all of the emails about the travel or the confirmations. If I want to limit it to just a certain date range, I can do that so that the timeline is going to be more focused. I can also, depending on how many documents I have, I might want to actually include events that Clearbrief can still detect, oh, this was an event that happened, even if there's no date. But for my purposes, I'm going to exclude that. I want to include events with partial dates, that sort of thing. So this looks good. I'm going to click done, and then I'll just insert this into my document here on the left. So as you can see, Clearbrief has inserted a timeline for me that has sorted through all of my documents at the top here. So it's going to actually ask me what citation style I like to use in my timeline. I'm going to choose this, and it's going to help me confirm that this is what I want to display here. And now I can go through my table, and everything has been sorted into dates for me. So as I'm clicking through, in this situation, this is about, actually, you know what, this was a different version of the timeline, but essentially it's about different business transactions that the Trump family had. Let me see if actually I have another timeline that might be more interesting for us. How about, here's one that's a little bit shorter. The way that the investigator is using this is they're not just blindly trusting the AI output. They are looking at the date in the left-hand column. They're reading the description here, and they're clicking on the source to review it inside the Clearbrief window. And this is allowing them to confirm that, this is exactly what they were expecting to see from the timeline. The investigator isn't just like completely blindly trusting the AI. They are still doing their job of looking through the timeline, editing this, and then they can do the next step, which is turning this timeline into an investigation report. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So again, going back to my generative AI tools, if I click on hyperlinked investigation report, it's going to ask me if I've uploaded the factual documents that I want to reference. I can do this either from a hyperlinked timeline like we just created, or a table that I'll show you how to do in a second. So here I'm going to show you one that I previously generated, and we can, let me show you one that, I was just playing around with this one this morning. So this is what it looks like when Clearbrief takes a timeline that you created and turns it into the right format that you need to see for an investigation report. So the AI will create an executive summary at the top, and then it will list out the findings that are based on your uploaded documents. And so you're going to click on every single page, and you can easily review this right here in the window to the right. So that's as simple as it gets, really. It's something that makes it faster for you to review. It makes it faster for you to share with your colleagues so that they can see the basis for the work that you did. Okay, so I just want to pause 1 second here and see if anyone has any questions about what I'm showing you.
Umesh asks, can you share how deposition summaries work?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that. All right, so I'm going to open a different document here. Any other questions before I turn to that, though, about the investigation report? So let me just show that one more time, because I do want to clarify a couple of things. Let's say I've started a document and I'm taking my notes about a particular investigation in my document. I wanted to actually just show a couple of other tools related to how you can continue to flesh out the writing that you're doing inside Clearbrief. So if I've started writing something, I can go ahead and click Analyze, and Clearbrief is trained to detect any references that I might have in my document that reference other documents, and show them and make it clear and visible so that while you're writing, you can see the evidence and make sure that it supports what you've written about. Here, one of the conclusions is the governor discussed infidelity and whether she had cheated on her husband. And I cited to page 5 of this document. Clearbrief is flagging for me with one of our patented scores that this page does not seem to prove that idea, right? It's talking about the governor, but that's about it. So if I click on the suggestions here, Clearbrief is going to suggest other pieces of evidence across all of my uploaded documents that could help me prove this idea. So this is very helpful if I'm trying to explain something as part of the investigation, but I can't remember where I found it in the documents. I can't remember. I took a ton of notes and I interviewed 8 different witnesses, and I dragged all of those witness notes into Clearbrief, into my sources. And this can help me now find the exact statement that people made, different witnesses made, and compare them while I'm writing. The AI suggestions are going to be pulled up automatically. And what's interesting is that they will find statements made that may not be an exact match, but still relate to the idea of my sentence. Did you ask Ms. Camiso whether she had fooled around with anyone outside of her husband? It's not the exact keyword match for infidelity or cheating, but this is capturing the meaning of what I was looking for. So this actually is exactly the page I wanted to discuss here. So I can easily now insert this into my document. And when I share this with my supervisor, they can also see the evidence that I'm using to underpin my analysis in my investigation. Let's say also, I don't even remember, like I was saying, which witness said what. I can select any text in my Word document and use the Add Fact Cite button. So this is going to go through all of my uploaded documents and find specific pages and suggest them for me. So this is actually showing me some contradictory evidence. Have you seen or heard of the governor touching anyone? No. The governor hugging anyone? No. So this is something I need to be aware of and address it in my investigation. And I'm going to continue clicking through. This is what I was saying about tagging specific documents or pages as hot. So this could also flag if I'm collaborating on this investigation with outside counsel or with someone on my team, they can see that I've drawn my attention to this page and I want them to look at this too. So this is a very easy way to build my case and build in my references to the factual documents. One more piece is that it's just a very simple interface for searching. Let's say I showed you initially the fast track to doing an investigation where I'm just like, I need to organize all the dates of anything that happened with this matter. And then I'm going to just click a button and turn that into an investigation report. This is another way to do it if maybe it's less about proving the timeline of events and actually more about just a specific theme. So let's say I'm investigating that did the governor sending a rose to certain employees constitute harassment? I'm going to just search for all the discussion of him sending a rose, and Clearbrief is giving me all the hits across all of my documents and all my witness interview notes, all my notes, and all the discovery that I got from. So I can look through these one by one, or I could also use the table builder tool. So remember I mentioned this earlier. So this is a way to actually extract information across a huge volume of documents. And this piece that I'm showing you is not generative AI. So it's not using the generative AI tool. So if your company is not yet ready for generative AI, you can use this without implicating that. And that's clearly delineated in the product. Okay, so when I click this button here, it's like copy and paste on steroids, essentially. So there's no possibility of the AI hallucinating or making something up. It's just literally copying all the discussion. And when I click on the page, the citation column, it's hyperlinked. So I can review it myself. I can decide if I want to add additional information in here. I can add my thoughts on this incident was not reported to HR or something like that. Like I'm adding my context and doing my job as the lawyer, as the investigator, but always the citations are here to support why I'm writing this. Does anyone have a question about this feature table builder? I'm going to get to the deposition summary in just a sec as well.
We have a few questions, none about that in particular. Yeah, so we'll go on to those. I guess, quick question, can handwritten notes be used in Clearbrief?
Yes, they can, and it works super well with handwriting. I've seen it. I've seen customers have showed me, and it works great. That's one of our core value props there that you can just drag in your notes, take a picture of your notes if you want. And then Francis asked, does Clearbrief also link to whatever case law service we use? Yes, it does. So I can show you that as well very quickly before we move on here. So let me just to show you how that works. Let's say, actually, okay, you know what? I'm going to just finish up showing you this, and then we'll get to how you collaborate with outside counsel. All right, let's say I'm still working here on this Rose investigation, and I'm going to go to the bottom of my table. I got a lot of hits for this discussion. So I'm going to click this generate draft button here. And Clearbrief has specific outputs that you can do with the generative AI. So it's not like other generative AI tools that are just very open-ended and there's no guardrails. Clearbrief is all about the guardrails. Again, this is also one of the reasons why our big law in-house customers have chosen Clearbrief because it's responsible AI. It supports their requirements for even using AI in legal. So here I might just want to do like a statement of facts and just summarize what I found in searching the Rose investigation. So I'm gonna find one that I previously generated. It literally takes just a minute or so, but just in the interest of this tight timeline, we have to show you everything. So what it did was it will summarize what I had in the table. And again, every single sentence has this hyperlinked citation after it that helps me easily check and fulfill my ethical responsibility that I've looked this over, that it did not hallucinate. I can just see everything side by side. And so this could become, it just depends like what kind of work product you're looking for. The investigation report is designed to list it out in the way that we've heard from investigators that they tend to do it, like corporate in-house teams. But maybe you want to send more of a memo or a narrative to the GC. This works really well for that. Okay, so speaking of using Clearbrief for sending a memo, you may also be including legal sources in that process, right? I'm going to go ahead and launch Clearbrief and go to my matter folder for this case. So this is a Ninth Circuit brief. So let's say maybe I've written a memo that has legal sources, or I'm reviewing something that outside counsel sent me. And my job as an in-house attorney is to sprinkle my wisdom into this document, give them feedback about how we normally like to do things, the positions that the company has taken in other situations, that kind of thing. So I'm going to click Analyze. The Analyze button, again, is trained to detect references to laws and facts so that when you're reading, you always have that side-by-side visibility into the evidence so you can make sure it's accurate. Because yeah, there's plenty of times where I've talked to people where they've hired outside counsel in a jurisdiction and they never worked with this attorney before, and it turns out they were not happy with the work product. So this is an example of how Clearbrief is taking me to a spot in my draft where if I click on a case, Clearbrief automatically displays it from Lexis. So if you are a Lexis customer, this integration is free of charge. It will just display the cases from Lexis. If you don't have Lexis, it will display the cases from Fastcase VLex. So you do not have to have a subscription to anything to still see the law populate automatically. So you don't have to log in, you don't have to stop what you're doing and try to remember your password. It's just going to show you the law. It's also giving that score again, which is reading, did that outside counsel accurately describe the case? Because that's what the judge is looking for. That, okay, they cited to this page, this court reviews de novo challenges, we review de novo challenges. Okay, good, that looks good. And I can have access to this case so I can explain it to anyone who asks. Even though outside counsel is handling it, they expect me to be knowledgeable about the issues. Now, what if I'm using outside counsel that I'm worried they're cutting corners? This is a fake AI generated case from the Avianca lawsuit. I'm sure you all heard about that one where the person used ChatGPT to do legal research and it came up with fake cases. So Clearbrief won't be able to display that automatically. And so that's how it helps you spot issues. So it's okay, if this is real, upload your own source, go ahead. And so it can still detect, even when there's something wrong with the formatting, something's off, it still detects that this is trying to be a case. And it helps me fix the blue booking automatically inside Clearbrief. And we offer a couple different styles there. So I can just fix the citation. And it also explains why the format was not correct. Okay, so and then back to what we were talking about though, where my investigation report is also going to have, of course, these references to the facts or my legal brief. And the facts are what makes or breaks the case. So when you file this with the court, they want to see that, okay, you're telling me Craig DeLu serves as the president. This page is being flagged as not, potentially having this information. And then Clearbrief is flagging, actually, this page has the exact quote. So this is what they meant to put. And This is just like helping me avoid those sloppy mistakes before filing. So I hope that shows you. It also instantly does a table of authorities, and I'll show you in a second how it will allow you to hyperlink this for filing or for sharing. Okay, so that's how it can help you with the case law. But Clearbrief, by the way, is not doing your legal research. It's not generating the legal research portion. You would do that in your own legal research tool of choice, or more commonly, your outside counsel would be doing that. Okay, let's talk about deposition summaries now. This is a brand new feature that we have released, and it allows you to upload a deposition that you're working on, and basically, or a number of depositions that you've received from your outside counsel, and create a very helpful, useful summary. So again, it's going to start by going here to upload your deposition. And I'm going to use my generative AI tool that is called deposition summary. So it's going to ask me, did you upload the factual sources? Yes, I can generate it directly from those documents that I've uploaded. Here is the one that I previously generated here. And so I can also include a topic if that the AI has detected certain topics, and super, super helpful. So the way that Clearbrief does this was originally I think it's a 150-page deposition. And so Clearbrief has condensed it to 8 pages, and it's organized it in the order of the testimony. And always when I click on the citation here, I can verify side by side that it's talking about this river here. Okay, yep, this makes sense. And it's already in Word, so I can just add my notes if there's anything I want to change or adjust. And yeah, it's super helpful. It's fast. It makes it very quick to see the specific topics that you need to focus on for your case, that you need to elevate potentially to the general counsel, or that you need to flag for your outside counsel. Hey, I'm concerned about these admissions that were made during this deposition. And it allows you to just more quickly give that insight that they pay you the big bucks for as in-house counsel. So I want to show you now how you hyperlink. So let's say I wanted to share this deposition summary with someone who does not have Clearbrief.
So Jackie, quick question. Can you talk about hallucinations with the
Oh, yeah.
depo summaries? Umesh says that they have found significant hallucinations and they're concerned. What's your experience with Clearbrief in that regard?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons, again, that the biggest global firms and in-house corporations are choosing Clearbrief, because we've specifically designed our tools to avoid hallucinations. But if you read anything about this, and the bar has issued guidance where it says it's fine to use AI tools, but your obligation is to check it over. And so not only is Clearbrief designed to be as bland as possible and as faithful to the source documents, but it's always giving you that hyperlink citation so that it's actually easy to view the source side by side. And it's even highlighting where it got the information. That's the best you can do. If you want to use AI, there's always going to be that risk, but this is how you mitigate the risk. That's our job, right? As in-house. We're not telling the company, don't take any risk. We're saying, these tools can be hugely helpful. I talked with a lawyer this week who told me this deposition summary tool saved, he was a partner, and he told me this saved him 5.5 hours and got him exactly what he wanted. And he specifically said he loved how he can always cross-check it and view the original source and see if there's some nuance that the AI is not going to like maybe understand, but he understands. And so it's just really it's a tool to help that lawyer. Cool. So I want to just quickly show you. So let's say I want to share this with my GC, or I want to share this with the CEO who doesn't have Clearbrief or doesn't know how to use technology or want to learn. That's fine. You just basically click this button, and Clearbrief is going to take all of this evidence and turn this document into a PDF. So I'm going to show you it's opening up a link in a new window, and let me share that. Sorry, I have to sign in here. Okay, so let me share my screen so you can see the steps here. Okay, so it created this link for me. When I click on the link, it opens up Clearbrief in my web browser. So I'm signed in now to my account in the web. This is, you do all of your work in Clearbrief in Word, but when you're ready to share it with people who don't have Clearbrief, who don't use Word, you can share it securely using your web browser. It turned my Word document into a PDF, but every single citation here is clickable. So this is, again, how, going back to the investigation report process, the biggest problem I hear from investigation teams and in-house teams and HR is that the person doing the investigation, they're making judgment calls about the meaning of that evidence or the significance of it. And sometimes that gets lost as they communicate their findings to other people up the chain. So the investigator might read an email and they're like, oh, this is really alarming, this email. And so they write that they recommend termination or something like that. And then they send it up the chain and it goes to a senior leader and they're like, oh, Joe Schmo, he's great. I'm sure the email wasn't that bad because they're not looking at the email and they're not experiencing what a jury is going to experience. So with Clearbrief, you can give that even that senior person the visibility so that they see, oh, wow, I don't want this on the front page of the New York Times. Yes, we need, this is serious. And so it can help avoid things that could turn into much bigger problems later simply by making the evidence more transparent to the leadership. And this is a way that like you can present this live if you're presenting your investigation. And it's just a very elegant way to present your work so that every single page is linked. You can highlight things. And by the way, you can do this with, remember we showed you the brief that you were working on? That's how Clearbrief is currently being used to file litigation pleadings. So if you're not asking your outside counsel to use Clearbrief, you're missing a huge advantage. I had another attorney write an email personally to me this week thanking me because he won this really impactful case. And he said it was because of Clearbrief and allowing him to hyperlink the evidence for the judge. And he said it made all the difference because he could tell the judge had actually read this long thing that he wanted the judge to read. And that formed the basis for the ruling, and they won. The way that you share this is you can finalize this, give it a title for filing or for sharing with CEO. And then I have a couple of options. I can download this. I can, of course, password protect this. And this can be the default, by the way, for in-house teams is that everything must be password protected. You can create an offline version that puts all the exhibits into a folder. You can download this as a PDF with the hyperlinks in it. You can also share this via email so that the person they'll have a magic link that allows them to access this. And of course, would also have a password on it. That's the idea. So that someone who doesn't have Clearbrief, someone who needs to, it's still keeping your information secure and confidential, but it's allowing for sharing. That's facilitating better communication of the work that you did. A quick question. Oh, I want to just address a couple questions by Francis. Yes, Clearbrief can handle handwritten notes. Do we need training on how to upload the documents into the system? It's really quite simple. We do offer training, but there's also that video that's right on the upload screen that tells you how to upload it, but it's literally just drag and drop. And it does all the processing on the back end. And so that's one of the easiest things to do in Clearbrief. How does the cross-examination tool work? Oh, the cross-examination tool is awesome. Unfortunately, we're a little bit out of time, but John, I'd love to follow up about that and I can send a note and anyone else interested, I'll send some links if you want of videos showing how that works. But you use like the search tools to create a table basically of what topics the person talked about that you're most interested in. And then Clearbrief will create cross-examination questions that link back to that original testimony. So you can really zing them by showing that original.
Jackie, if you have, if you have an easy way to show it, feel free. I don't want to cut you off. I don't know if you have it loaded up, but if you would like, you certainly can.
No, it's going to take me, I think, longer than
Okay.
3 minutes. And unfortunately, I do have a hard stop, but I can send out a recording of this to this group. I think I have the emails of the folks who signed up. But yeah, just in the last couple minutes, I wanted to again emphasize that bringing a tool like Clearbrief to the in-house team, no, it's not just as simple as just give them AI or whatever. It's all about how you introduce it to the team, being thoughtful about training, being thoughtful about showing them the best practices. So that's really a big part of what we offer as well is a really structured pilot process. Anyone who's interested, we'd love if you wanted to email us hello@clearbrief.ai and we can do a personal demo that's really tailored to what your company does and the problems and the features that you're most interested in. But I did want to say the last thing I want to mention is those matter folders that I showed you, you can share that with your outside counsel. So if something that you've worked on, you need to share it with an attorney at some point who's external because it's turned into a litigation matter. It's very streamlined. And guess what? They are also doing all their work in Word. So we have seen our in-house teams tell their outside counsel, we want you to use Clearbrief because it makes it easier for us to upload evidence, to share, communicate about the briefing and the discovery responses in this case. So I didn't have time to get through everything, but thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate that. And we've really purpose built this around litigators, and there's a reason why we've become a trusted AI tool in this space. We put a lot of thought. It's not just like, sure, use AI for anything. That's really not our philosophy. It's all about whatever we do, we got to show our work. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate the opportunity to present to you, and I hope that we can stay connected on LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. Quick question. What if outside counsel doesn't have Clearbrief? Can you still collaborate with them?
Yeah, even if they don't have Clearbrief, we're happy for our customers to get them set up with a complimentary license so that you can collaborate with them on this matter. We'll even train them for you so they know how to use it. So we're very full service in that regard. But even if they don't have Clearbrief, you can also send them the hyperlinked versions of things in that way that I showed you so that they can access the documents and download them.
And thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is a wonderful program. Again, that's hello@clearbrief.ai. And as well, you can say yes, and we will set you up with Clearbrief as well. This was wonderful. I hope everybody has a wonderful Wednesday, a great hump day, as they say, and I look forward to seeing everybody hopefully at the next IHC webinar.